Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. Patrick Netherton here at the house, Rogers Hampton back at the studio as we continue to operate remote. But we're super excited to welcome in our next guest, the man who's won 30 games in college basketball this year, the best redemption story in the game, that is for sure. He is Will Wade of the McNeese Cowboys, whose team just captured the Southland Conference championship after the tournament championship after capturing the regular season championship, and now moving on to parts unknown. We don't know where they'll end up, probably a 12 or a 13 seed, but wherever, that is going to be a dangerous place for a 5 or potentially a 6 seed to find themselves. As we welcome in Coach Wade. And Coach, first of all, congratulations on the season as a whole. Just kind of give us an indication of what this ride's been like for you guys.
I mean, it's been wild. Been just wild. So it seems like just yesterday we were getting here and kind of getting started and getting going. But just you think back to our first game at VCU, and I was suspended the first 10 games, and how crazy all of that was. I mean, it's just a crazy time and crazy year, but. I do think it's we managed it well. We got the ship to port, so to speak. We may have had some rocky seas at some times and at some points, but it was we were able to get it into port, and it was a special season. I mean, special season. We had a great group of guys, really connected group, as close a group, as close a team as I've probably ever coached and ever had. And so just fun. I mean, I had the time of my life this year. I want to keep it going as long as we can, but it's been just a phenomenal time being around the guys. I've enjoyed every bit of it. And we're looking forward to hopefully getting into March Madness, but seeing if we could do something special and win a game or two.
Let's go back to those first 10 games, and I don't know that enough is made of your two assistants that you split the time with in who was going to be your head coach, Brandon Chambers and Vernon Hamilton. You bring in guys, you're a whole new staff, you kind of turn everything over, it's a brand new team. To have those guys sort of split the head coaching duties over those first 10 games and have great success at it, to me, that feels like it's somewhat of an overlooked storyline for your guys.
Yeah, I mean, those two were phenomenal. They've both been with me a long time. I've known them both. Vernon and I went to college together, and Brandon was a manager for us at VCU. So I've known those guys a long time, but they just did a phenomenal job with the team, and that's not easy. It's not easy to manage games. It's not easy to coach in games, and they just did a great job with the group. Truth be told, if we'd have finished that thing 6-4, I'd have been happy. And we went 8-2 with those guys. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And I agree with you. That kind of got us kick-started and got us off and rolling a little bit, and got us off to a really good start. And I was really pleased with how well they did. Not only that, just how well the team responded to those guys.
This is in the realm we live in college basketball right now, and in college athletics in general, with the transfer portal, NIL, all of that stuff. You oftentimes see a guy that'll have to come in. I mean, I look at Northwestern State, where I call games, and what Rick Cabrera had to do, right? 14 new guys. All of his guys leave and go with the previous head coach. You come in, you do inherit a couple of guys from the previous roster, and obviously Christian Shoemate, that we'll talk about here in just a little bit, a huge part of that. But you have to come in and remake things a good deal. Tell me a little bit about the idea of being able to bring a team together and bond these guys when they really didn't know each other, say, however many last year, right? What was that process like, trying to put this team together and have them coalesce?
They didn't know each other till we got here in May, and then we didn't have Cullum. He didn't get here till August. He was graduating from Bakersfield. We didn't have Cooper wasn't here. He had to finish some stuff. I mean, he wasn't here till August. So we didn't have two of our starters until August, and The other guys were here during the summer, and so we spent a lot of time on that. We call it Team Tuesdays in the off season. So we always do a team activity on Tuesdays. Usually we alternate week from week. On 1 week it's like a classroom type session where we sit around and talk, or I have a topic, or we read a chapter in a book and we talk about it. More of that sort of stuff. And then the other one is an activity where we go out and we play paintball, or we go we went to like a version of like Top Golf that we have here, and then we go eat as a team, and nobody can use their cell phones. We all got to sit around and talk and take their cell phones. We take our cell phones at every meal. So everybody's got to sit around and talk and try to get to know each other. And so, we tried to do things like that in the off season to expedite. I knew we had, talent. I knew we had a lot of talent. We'd accumulated a lot of talent with our players, but we needed to make sure they, bonded together. Talent without any bonds is still no good. You're not going to win. You're not going to be very successful. So we had to kind of bond everybody together, and fortunately we hit on the right formula in the off season.
All right. So what does today's, and you have older guys, so it's not like you were dealing with a bunch of 18-year-olds. You had pretty much an older roster, but what happens when you put a bunch of 20, 21, 22-year-old kids together and take their phones away? What's that like, especially early on when they're first learning each other?
Oh, they didn't like me very well. They did not like me at all. But I mean, I said, look, this is just what we're going to do. If you don't want to go do it, that's fine. Go do. You can go somewhere else and do something else. But this is what we're going to do. And it stirs conversation. It makes them talk about things that they wouldn't talk about with their phone, instead of texting other people or looking at Snapchat or YouTube or whatever they look at. I'm not on any of that stuff. So, so it gives them some freedom to talk about different topics. Sometimes I would pick a topic. I'd say, hey, look, I'm a history teacher by nature. I'd say, hey, look, this went on today in the world. Let's talk about this. What do y'all know about this? Most of the time they know nothing about it, and I have to explain, hey, look, here are the two sides of this. Here's what some people think. Here's what some people think. Where do y'all fall? And then, that's a lot better than arguing about, like most teams, about Kobe and LeBron and Michael Jordan and all that stuff.
Right.
We're talking about stuff that you got to think about and do some deep thinking. And so we actually had a guy come in and challenge our guys to play chess, because it does something for creative thinking,
Sure.
Getting your creative juices flowing. So I would let them use it. Like we would do chess on our phones, or use chessboards. One of my assistants, Brandon Chambers, one of the guys who coached those games,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually an incredible chess player. He's like been in chess tournaments and stuff.
Nice.
So he so we did some things like that just try to encourage critical thinking and interaction.
You should set up Chambers with one of those, like when they put the Grand Masters out there and they're playing like 15 people at once, right? Where they have all the boards set up. You should set that up with your team. Just have everyone sitting down, and he just has to go by and play every player on the team at the same time. I think that'd be amazing.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be some quality content. And of course, then you get, like, hey guys, all right, today's topic, War of 1812. Right, let's talk about this. You can really fall into the history teacher if you want to. Okay, so you got these guys. They're bonding. They're coming together. At what point did you start to realize that, hey, maybe this is a team that had this kind of potential in it?
After we won at VCU, when we went in there and played like that in that environment, I was like, wow, we're a little bit further along maybe than I thought we were. I felt it. We went on a team retreat for a weekend, and once again, we took their phones we were in the woods. Their phones wouldn't have worked if they had them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But we took everybody's phones for the weekend, and we did the team retreat. And I felt good leaving the retreat, but shoot, most years you feel good leaving the retreat. Everybody says what they're supposed to say, and for the most part, it goes pretty well. But I felt just more of a sense of confidence that, hey, man, I got the right people in the room. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I got the right people in the room. And then, once we did the basketball piece and just our calmness and our poise at VCU in that environment, and the way we just really dominated the game. It was never really close in the second half. Um, I was like, all right, we're probably a little bit further along than I was anticipating and suspecting, and this could be a really magical season for us.
You know, you look at how your team is built, and we mentioned you bring in a lot of new guys, and obviously everyone knows Shahada Wells, the Player of the Year, the Newcomer of the Year. We all knew Christian Shoemate. You kind of got to learn about Shoemate a little bit when he decided to come back out of the portal and stay with you guys. Give me some idea of melding the team on the floor, right? Because Wells is definitely your alpha dog, but then you've got a bunch of guys who, you know, Shoemate's going to want to get his touches, and Garcia's going to want to get his, and Richards can fire it from three. Like, how did you work on making sure that everyone understood the roles they were supposed to play and get them comfortable doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it. I mean, look, I'm very blunt, I'm very honest, and I'm honest and blunt with our guys. And so I call them responsibilities, not roles, because roles kind of sound like I'm suggesting you do this. Hey, this would be a good role for you. No, this is your responsibility. This is what you're going to do. And quite frankly, if you don't want to do it, we've got other good players. And, you know, I'll just keep offering that up. Somebody's going to take it at some point. And so you're either going to take what, you know, take what you've earned, or what I feel like you've earned. Or if that's not good enough for you, then we'll find somebody else who's earned it, and go from there. And so I think that was, you know, just having those honest conversations, talking to guys honestly about that, and letting them know this is where it is. I mean, look, DJ Richards would start for any other team in our league. He comes off the bench. CJ Felder would start for any other team in our league. He comes off the bench. You know, just explaining to those guys, hey, this is what we need. This is what the team needs. And, you know, to their credit, they've got to want to do it, and to want to be involved in it, and to want to sacrifice. And everybody's got to sacrifice a little bit. Hade's played great, but he hadn't averaged as many points as he averaged at Texas Arlington when he was in the Sun Belt, because he has more assists. And everybody's had to sacrifice a little bit for us, and that's part of the formula to having a really special team.
Okay, so what's the hidden thing that you're most proud of with this team? Right, it's easy to look at and see you're shooting it well from three, and you defend the three well, and you have a great assist to turnover ratio and all that. But what's the stat, or maybe the thing about this team that you're most proud of that maybe isn't glaringly obvious to the general public?
You know, I mean, from an off-the-court standpoint, just how connected they are. Like, I mean, people don't even notice this, but you probably don't even notice this. Like, when we walk our captain out there, it's actually one of our walk-ons.
Mm-hmm.
And our guys elected him captain. He's got the best personality. He's got the best positive attitude. Like, he's incredible in practice. He's incredible every day, and just a phenomenal kid. And I mean, we've got a kid who doesn't play much, Tajon Brown. He's a freshman. Most freshmen be upset not playing. He'll go 60 straight possessions in practice and guard the ball as hard as he can guard the ball to get our guys better. So just everybody, accepting their responsibilities, everybody, just doing whatever it takes to be a part of the team and to help this team win and help this team do what it needs to do. The connectivity of the group, that's been really underrated. You know, on the court, basketball wise, you mentioned, I mean, simplistically, you want to shoot the ball before you turn it over. And that's been the biggest key. Like, when we've won big, I mean, we turned the ball over 8 times in 2 games in the conference tournament. We went to Michigan, we turned it over 4 times. When we went to UAB, we turned it over 6 times. Like, I mean, we just get more shots on the basket. And if you can do that, I mean, that's going to be the formula in the NCAA tournament. We're going to have to make threes and not turn the ball over, and hope the other team misses some threes. But in our biggest games, we went into VCU and turned it over 5 times in a crazy environment. Like, in our biggest games, when we go in there and value the ball, I mean, we've got a really good chance to win. And so that's been just our ball security, at every position has been huge for us.
Well, not only that, but the buy-in defensively is impressive as well. Will, I look at a guy like Shahada Wells, right? He's taken 400 shots. He's a guy that averages nearly 18 points a game. He's a guy that you could very easily see going, look, coach, I'm kind of carrying us a bit offensively from time to time. I got to get a rest somewhere. And yet this dude has 30 more steals than he has turnovers, being your highest usage guy. Like, that's, to me, an incredible amount of buy-in, especially for a guy that's new to the program. I'll be honest with you, what you've done for these guys and how these guys have bought in, to me, is the most remarkable thing about your team.
Well, look, they're really good kids. There's an old cliche in coaching, and I've never been able to test it until this year with him. If your best players, your best worker, your best leader, your best kid, you got a chance to have a special season. I've had a lot of really good players. I've been fortunate to coach a lot of really, really good players. I've yet to have one that meets all those criteria until Hade. And that, I tell you what, a lot of those cliches are not right. That one is, I can tell you after this time, it is 120% right. I mean, he's everything you could possibly imagine. I mean, he's 24 years old. He's been through a lot. He's been through a lot in life. He's been through a lot in basketball. He just has a unique perspective and a unique understanding of things that's just unparalleled, just absolutely unparalleled in anyone that I've coached, and having that is rubbed off on everybody else. And I mean, there's times in practice I'm sitting there going, I'm sitting there thinking, this practice isn't too bad. We're doing all right. And he's coming to me and says, Coach, we need to restart the drill. This isn't good enough. I'm like, dang, I thought we were all right. He's like, Coach, we got to lock in better. We got to be better at this. I'm like, all right, well, let's restart it then. How do you want to restart it? We'll restart it.
Is he a kid you think coaches eventually?
Oh yeah. You're going to have to fight me to get him on the coaching staff, because there's not anything I wouldn't do to have him on my coaching staff.
Yeah.
So I got first dibs, I hope. But, no, he's gonna be able to play a long time. I mean, he's gonna have a chance now to earn his way into the NBA. He's gonna have a real chance now, and he's a special player, but just an even better just person.
Yeah. I'll tell you this: we had a guard back in the day, Jalen West, that played at Northwestern State, and he's the kid I think that's most like him. Can knock down threes, can knock down free throws. You want the ball in his hands down the stretch. He's a clutch player. The only difference is Hade is a couple inches taller than Jalen, but they feel very similar to me in kind of how they approach things. All right, so moving forward now, you have no idea what's next, right? We're all gonna sit around on Sunday and wait for the selection show. Is there a comp for this in the regular season of not knowing who an opponent is? I guess the conference tournament's the best thing, but you at least know who maybe the 2 or 3 teams you might face. This is, you literally don't know. How do you kind of work on preparing for this? We've got a pretty good sense of, there's a group of 8 to 10 teams, and really there's 5 or 6 that we're more likely to play. Mm-hmm. So we've started looking at those and especially the ones we're not as familiar with. There's some teams, there's a good chance we get sent to the West Coast, and there's going to be some West Coast teams out there that I haven't watched a second of all season, and my staff hadn't watched a second of all season. So we started that process yesterday of, look, here's, depending on how things go with VCU in the Atlantic 10 tournament, South Florida in the American tournament, Grand Canyon in the WAC semis and finals this week, we're going to be right on that, one of the top 2 13s or one of the bottom 2 12s. So, there's a group of teams there that are going to be 4s and 5s that we've started to look at, and we're trying to familiarize ourselves as much as we can with those guys. And look, we're off today. We were off yesterday. We're going to practice Saturday, practice Sunday before selection show, and probably take off Monday, depending on when we play, take that day off, and then, start our 2-day prep and get going. By the way, you mentioned South Florida. That's a former Southland guy that's running South Florida. Amir Abdur-Rahim, former Southeastern Louisiana Lion. That's just won Coach of the Year over in that league. All right, final thing before we let you go. It's just the totality of everything. Obviously, you're not done. You want another game to get to that second weekend, all of that stuff. But But just looking back on the totality of the season so far and the journey that you've had from everything that went down at LSU to finding this sort of redemptive place and Heath Schroyer bringing you in and believing in you, and now you've got the big contract extension and all of that. Tell me about what this has been like personally for you, this sort of entire arc of your career here over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
It's been an incredible experience all year. I mean, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves in that tournament because I wanted to win it so bad for our players. I wanted to win it so bad for our fans and our community. Just there's a lot of pressure because I wanted to finish this thing off right. We have one kid, Shahada. He's the only one who's ever been to the NCAA tournament, and so just making sure we could finish it off and do it right was really, really important to me. And now I want to see if we can do it even a little bit better and put McNeese on the national radar a little bit, see if we can win one of these games in the tournament.
Well, I can tell you this, having, back in 06 when NSU beat Iowa, the 14-3 upset and the crazy shot and all that, there is nothing that beats the rush of winning an NCAA tournament game. You know that. These guys don't necessarily know that. And so I hope y'all get it done, man. It's a great story. Obviously, I love Matt Bonnet. He's one of my best friends. So I love the McNeese community. Those are a bunch of good folks down there, and Tom and Ron and all those guys, Bruce Merchant. So look, I'm pulling for you. I hope y'all go down and make some noise wherever you end up in the tournament. And obviously we'd love to have you on during the off season at some point. Just recap everything, brother. Sounds good. We'll do it. Thanks so much, Patrick. All right. Appreciate thank you. It's Will Wade, head coach of the McNeese Cowboys, joining us here on the Patrick Netherton Show. So good stuff from Will Wade. Absolutely fantastic story that they have been, and we appreciate him spending some time with us. We will take a break, come back. You are listening to the Patrick Netherton Show.